Jake Hoffman.
And this is Moderately Outraged.
So today we are going to talk to you about the SolarWinds cyber attack that's taken place on the United States and a ton of the departments around the country. First, I will give a quick shout out to Michelle's mother, Carol, for coming and giving us this beautiful tree, decorating for us, and giving us a festive backdrop. Personally, I take the Melania Trump approach to Christmas decorations, and I always have. I stand by her completely. But thank you for coming by and decorating our place. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, so to jump straight into this SolarWinds topic, it is massive news. So it pretty much picks up right where we left off last week. You know, the Chinese government, said had invaded the United States, with traditional espionage. And now, according to experts, the Russian government has penetrated, every layer of our bureaucracy, through a cyber hack.
Yeah, we're talking about attacks into the U.S. Department of Energy, the Nuclear Security Administration,
our nuclear codes,
the Department of Homeland Security, the Treasury Department, the Commerce Department, even the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
Let's pause. Let's pause for a minute. If you're the Cybersecurity Department, how do you get hacked? That's your one job.
How do you feel right now? You got one job.
One job, and that's don't get hacked. And what do? You get hacked.
Yeah, so it's really bad. This is one of the biggest stories in the entire world right now. I know that we've probably said that a few times in this show in this last year.
Yeah, but this is really, honestly, one of the biggest stories I can even remember in in the past 4 years. This is bigger than any scandal that anybody has talked about with Trump.
And we are just tip of the iceberg right now because we don't even know who it was. Because like Michelle said, a lot of the leading experts are saying, oh, Russia hacked, because that's the easy thing to say, to be honest. That it fits the narrative that the media wants to try and portray that, Russia interfered in the 2016 elections, they did it again in the 2020 elections, and then they did it, and on a larger scale around the entire country. But personally, I don't buy it. That's my hot take right now, is that they're just trying to say that this is Russia because of the narrative that comes with that. The fact that, it kind of downplays the fact that there was election interference possibly against Trump in the last election. And the only, reasons they have for saying that it was Russia is because, it was similar to the tactics that Russia had used previously. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. There's not really any solid evidence. This very well could be China. This very well could be Iran. This very well could be almost any other country with a sophisticated hacking system, and a lot of them do have that capability. It's not just Russian. I think that's a simple narrative to jump to and conclusions to jump to when you didn't even know this existed for 8 months, and now you're just starting to get the details out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. What I'm going to say is the reason why experts are saying it's Russia is because hackers tend to leave a specific, type of, code that they do. I'm not really a techie person, but just telling you what the experts have said, that there is a specific code and a signature that hackers leave. However, the Chinese are experts at stealing IP and stealing other people's, techniques. So why should we believe just so simply that it's the Russians and write off that the Chinese or the Iranians or anyone else who's sophisticated with technology could have done this? And also, when we just found out that there were Chinese spies in the U.S.,
go back and watch the episode. We just talked about it for 20 minutes on the last episode at Moderately Outraged on Instagram.
Yeah, and so SolarWinds got raided. They actually got raided by the U.S. government, and so
they're depositioning all of the people that work at that company because this is a big deal.
And somebody did this. Somebody on the inside very likely could have done this. I don't know that for sure. It's just something that you go, how could somebody, be able to penetrate this many layers of government? And when and they said traditional espionage tactics were used. And when you talk about traditional espionage, you're talking about somebody getting sent in, living amongst the U.S. That's traditional espionage. That's on the ground work. But it was ultimately a cyber hack.
These are people that have been reading all of the communications between these departments and, all of the information that flows freely. I mean, again, we're talking about nuclear codes. We're talking about nuclear, tests that's going on in New Mexico out there. We're talking about the Commerce Department and the Treasury Department up in Washington. I mean, really serious stuff.
They could have been manipulating our currency right now. We don't even know.
There's so much to this. We really do, again, just tip of the iceberg. But what did happen over the last day or so, and it's going to probably change by the time this actually airs, is that Microsoft run by Bill Gates. You know, just seems like he pops up everywhere this year. Not going to go too far about this. Just going to say he's kind of around everything. They went and did the Death Star approach, is what they're calling it. Tech people watch a lot of Star Wars and Star Trek. Not really.
No offense,
sure.
no offense, nerds, but it's just like the most obvious name that you could have picked. But.
So what they did is they actually went in, and this starts to get very complicated. Like, this is the kind of stuff that's going to end up tuning a lot of people out right now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you a quick explanation as simple as possible as what happened here. Because
pay attention, and we will give you the implications on a global scale at the later in the episode.
Yeah. Basically what happened is that this software is like a plugin. You know, like your phone has an app. And instead of them going and hacking iPhone or Android, they went and hacked one of the apps that you use. Let's just say you use the Spotify app, right? So they went and hacked Spotify. Spotify's on everybody's phone. So nobody really knows that it's going on because it's not on their phone. It's inside an app inside of the phone, right? If that makes sense, if you guys are following me through this.
It's like the inception of apps.
It's not quite inception, but either way, that's generally what got hacked here. It's a very, very small piece of software that happens to be used and contracted to a lot of government agencies. And through that back door, they've been able to go and again, read into all of these different agencies. And that is generally the easiest possible way of explaining how they were able to get in. They keep saying it was very sophisticated, it was very sophisticated. I sure hope so, because again, they were able to get into the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. I hope they didn't just send like an email with a girl and was like, hey, like call for a good time, you know, and then some guy that's really bored at his job like opened up a malware, got himself yeah,
I really feel like somebody just was over, in Russia going like, I bet the password is password 12345, and it was. Like, I feel like that's what happened. They're like, it's so sophisticated, guys, I promise you. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's really an embarrassment for the United States. It's very much an embarrassment to the United States. And I want to say that it is still a very complicated issue, because the fact that we do not know how to handle the exact situation from a policy standpoint. There's a lot of foreign implications.
And that's what I really want to get into, is what are the foreign implications of this? And so really what happened, and you really have to go back to Obama's presidency. And during Obama's presidency, there were cyber hacks that were occurring by the Russian government. He knew about this. His presidency knew about this. His whole administration did, top down. But they didn't do anything about it. So the Russian government, this is the liberal media that is even saying this, okay? And so, this isn't just me being on the right wing and being like, blame Obama. No, the liberal media is actually saying this. And, so because he didn't do anything, the Russian government felt more and more emboldened in the group that...
all governments. Well,
yes.
Yeah, so I know that they keep saying it's Russia, but again, I don't know if it's Russia.
Well,
it's all governments see this type of behavior from the United States, weak behavior, that there will not be any repercussions for them to come and do something like a cyber attack like this on our country.
Exactly, because, and I want to ask you guys in the comments, how do you think we respond with this? Because we do respond with cyber attacks, but we don't do anything militarily. We have sanctioned the Russian government, but then, during the Trump presidency, that was the whole Michael Flynn situation where he was talking about removing sanctions because of the hacks, and it's just a very, embroiled situation where it's uncharted territory. We don't know how to handle governments that hack us.
And countries that have different opinions on how to handle this. Even the United States doesn't really want to do some sort of treaty where we stop hacking each other, right? The United States goes and hacks other countries out there. I hope that's what we're doing. I hope that's what we spend all of our money on, all of these giant bureaucracies to do. I hope it's for some sort of defense somewhere else around the world.
And that's really what I want to get to, is that when you talk about a reason to hate big government, this is it. This is it, because it's bureaucracy that fails at every single level. And it's always bureaucracy that fails at every single level. So when you hear some Democrat going, we need to create a new government agency. Oh, so you can spend millions, if not billions of dollars.
Or a new global treaty that needs to get done.
Yeah, so we can spend millions and billions of dollars on it so that, other countries just don't listen to it, don't respect it, they hack us, and then they just, and then it just all falls apart. And then when somebody goes, hey, what happened? They go, oh, oh, well, I mean, I don't know. And you're the cybersecurity department, or you're the department that holds nuclear codes, and you get hacked? Like, how does this happen? Like, it's honestly, it is incompetence. Like, it makes me feel like we are the United States of incompetence, and it's not because we should be. It is because of bureaucracy. It's because of big government bureaucracy. That's what creates incompetence.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with what you're saying there. But let's talk about what's on everybody's mind the past couple of weeks is
the election.
The election that the left has constantly told us has been the most secure in history. Remember that? Remember that? It is the most secure in history. So it was the most secure in history, but at the same time that was being said, all of these other departments around the entire country have been hacked by a foreign entity. And somehow a foreign entity can come in and get into all of our other systems, but they can't come into our voting systems. Well, guess what? And Dominion's already said no, we don't do any work with SolarWinds, and we don't do anything with Orion. But guess what? They don't do anything with that particular program, that one single particular program. They do have deals with SolarWind. So this software that was hacked, like I explained earlier, this app that was hacked, not that particular app, but let's say that they, Uber makes Uber Eats, SolarWinds makes Orion, SolarWinds also makes another thing. SolarWinds is also used in Dominion software on the election software. So you're going to sit here and look at me straight in the face and tell me there was no election hacking. It is impossible. We've had the most secure election of all time. I call BS. That is why we've been talking about blockchain for the last 2 months at this point, talking about how to get free and fair elections put into our systems. This third-party software stuff is not okay for elections. It's not okay for elections, and it is 100% possible. And I'm not saying there is enough proof out in the open right now at this current moment that says votes were altered using this type of software. But what I can tell you is that there are facts over here that say SoftWinds was used in 10 or 20 possibly larger bureaucratic institutions around the country and hacked and things were stolen. And that same software is also used on Dominion software. Like, both of those things are both true at the exact same time. And then you have people telling you that there's nothing to see here.
And look, we're not trying to I don't want to overreach here. I don't want liberals coming for us saying that you're a conspiracy theorist. He can reach all he wants. It's like, I don't want to sit here and be like, well, Trump mentioned that solar energy is not good and wind energy isn't bad, and this is a company called SolarWinds. So Trump's been trying to warn us about this all the time, and just you
have to make the pins on the corkboard.
Yeah, we're not going old. We're not going conspiracy theorists here, okay? Or at least
one of us.
One of us isn't, okay? But what matters is the fact that people go, election hacking was impossible. Impossible. There's no chance. No chance. There's no chance. But the cybersecurity and the nuclear codes can get hacked. Just stop and think about that.
That's the thing. And now let's go. I'll go back and finish up this episode talking about my favorite topic of everybody, and that is the media. The media that continues to not cover this and pretend that this is not an issue. Now, finally, they're trying to come out again, trying to build a narrative around Russia. This is Russia, Russia, Russia. It's the same thing. So it actually fits the narrative they've been saying for the last 4 years. But to actually dig in and do some journalism as to what really happened here, I haven't seen it here. I haven't seen it here, and I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know we're going to ever see it. No. But what I will tell you is that there is real threats here, and everybody, a part of these institutions can tell you that there's a real threat here. Everybody is saying that. And what we need to do now is we need to take this seriously, and we really need to look at policy, which is what we need to do with a lot of other things, but we really need to look at policy. We need to, number one, strengthen our cybersecurity. Let's start there. Strengthen cybersecurity.
Obama had the chance to do that, and he didn't. He absolutely didn't. And I'm not saying that Trump did a great job at it either. I mean, there was failure, during both presidencies, but we need to strengthen cybersecurity. It's a simple thing.
Yeah, our cybersecurity agency should not be getting hacked. Let's just start there. Let's start at that agency. Then from there, we do need to try and figure out what is our policy going to be when another country does send a cyber attack to the United States. What do we do?
Are we going to drop a drone strike? Are we going to go that far?
Are you going to sanction them? Are you going to take traditional warfare? Or are you just going to cyber attack back and forth, and then we just accept this level of espionage? But we need to put some sort of safeguards around certain things. So, and I would think that one of those things is elections, right? Like I would think that, when there's foreign interference in you can, allow the play back and forth of cybersecurity, warfare going on between countries all, for 3.5 years, and then around the elections, you actually put a halt to it and you stop it. Like, I don't know how you handle this as a country. It's not a simple, easy fix, but it's the kind of questions that really need to get asked, and tough decisions need to be made by our lawmakers. And I can tell you what, they're not. They're not right now, because our lawmakers here in Tampa are too busy banning dancing and for trying to save everybody from COVID, because if you're on the dance floor or if you stand and sit, you have a better chance of catching COVID. I can't handle what's happening in not just Hillsborough County, but around the entire country, where we're seeing these asinine policies by our mayors and governors and all of these people that are out there making these policies. But what really needs to be focused on is stuff like cybersecurity, because this is actually real, legit threats. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. And that's what really needs to get done. We need to just have, we're inviting you to have this discussion with us. What do you think needs to get done when a foreign entity hacks us? When we have such a breach in security? What do you think needs to get done? Do you think there was a link between this and the elections? I know a lot of you will probably say yes to that, but just look into it. We're asking you, do some research on this topic, because it's not something that is simple and there's quick answers. I know that's what people want, but there's not quick answers to this. There needs to be some digging involved. And quite honestly, the way that they swooped into SolarWinds so quickly, they're gonna cover up whatever really happened. I don't think we'll ever really know the truth.
And you should
I have no faith. I have no faith that the government will really ever tell us.
Yeah, there is going to be more questions and answers from this story, and we are just seeing the beginning of it. The fact
you
that
should be, and this is what bothers me, is you should be asking these questions. And the fact that the left just goes, oh, it was Russia, it was all Russia, we're done, nothing to see here. Oh, this is proof that Russia is the one that Trump got in office. Hillary really should have been the president, and yada 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 yada, whatever. It's like, no. And what really matters is that it's like, just at least explore other options. And also, what I said last episode, there are hostile powers that want to attack the United States. Not everybody is our friend. We're not gonna, I know that the left just wants us to all sit down in a circle, link hands and sing Kumbaya together, but it's just, we can't do that. That's not how the world works. We just can't do that. And that's a shout out to my dad, because that's been his favorite saying for my entire life. But you know what? Sometimes your father's right, and you need to listen to him.
All right, we're going to save that clip. But if this episode did make you moderately outraged, please like, subscribe, share, talk about this stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Moderately Outraged. I want to thank Conservative News Today and BizPack Review, and our newest edition, American Wire, as well, where we're going to be airing these episodes each week from our show. So there's lots of excitement coming in 2021. I think we'll get another episode in before the New Year's for sure. Oh, go up and save the Senate. We're gonna go up and save the Senate in Georgia in a week.
We'll be in Atlanta, for New Year's. So it'll be great. So we get to go to the Peach Drop or whatever they do out there.
I don't know if they're doing it this year, but again, phone calls. Everybody volunteer for the Senate. If you can be over there, then walk, organize. Get yourself to
get your friends in Georgia to vote blue.
Yeah, don't listen to Linwood. This guy is nuts. This guy is nuts. Do not listen to Linwood telling you not to vote. This guy is crazy. We'll do another episode on it sometime.
Yeah, no. Vote. It's really important. The election isn't over. Get out there and get people out there to vote in Georgia.
Yeah. Good night.
Night.